Okay, once the temperatures start rising, I realized I was back to the same worn out rotation. Same tank, same shorts, same everything. So I gave my daily uniform an upgrade with Quince. Their pieces are easy, elevated, and somehow make me feel more put together without even trying. Like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30. Luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. And the best part? Everything with Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices in premium fabrics and finishes. Go get yourself the Oxford Relaxed shirt. I got mine in pale blue. You're going to wear it all the time, and you're going to love it. Treat your closet to a little summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/KKC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/KateCasey to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/KateCasey.
When an online shopper places an order, how that package arrives matters. I'm Al Coe, the CEO of ShipStation. Our promise is to make that process as easy as possible for you. ShipStation provides a robust platform to manage everything you sell, automate manual shipping tasks, and get the lowest possible carrier rates. Keep your team and your customers happy. Go to ShipStation.com to sign up for your free trial. That's ShipStation.com.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Today's episode is about Cold Case, the Tylenol Murders, which is available to stream on Netflix on May 26th. Today's episode is with the directors, Yotam, Guendelman, and Ari Pines. This series is produced by Joe Berlinger and revisits a terrifying crime that rocked the nation in 1982. The series delves into the infamous Tylenol poisonings that shattered public trust in household brands and raised unsettling questions about whether the case was ever truly solved, or if a convenient suspect was used to conceal a deeper conspiracy. The case centers on a series of random cyanide poisonings in the Chicago area, where 7 people, including a 12-year-old girl and several members of the Janus family, died after taking extra-strength Tylenol capsules unknowingly laced with the deadly toxin. The tampering occurred at the retail level. Bottles were opened, the capsules were placed with poisoned ones, and then the packaging resealed and returned to store shelves. The deaths triggered widespread fear and prompted Johnson & Johnson to recall more than 31 million bottles of Tylenol in a massive effort to protect the public. The case quickly became a national crisis. Tylenol was one of the most trusted over-the-counter medications, and the idea that a household product could be deadly shook consumer confidence. The murders revolutionized packaging standards, and as a direct result, tamper-evident seals became mandatory on over-the-counter medications. Laws were passed to make product tampering a federal offense. The FDA, Congress, and pharmaceutical industry overhauled safety protocols for consumer products. And in 1983, Congress passed the Tylenol bill, making product tampering a federal crime. Now, despite a lengthy investigation, no one has ever been officially charged with the murders. James William Lewis, a New York man, sent a letter to Johnson & Johnson claiming responsibility and demanding $1 million to stop the killings. He was convicted of extortion and served 13 years in prison, but authorities were unable to directly link him to the actual poisonings. I should note, he's interviewed in this series. Now, through new interviews and previously unseen evidence, Cold Case, the Tylenol Murders, reopens the investigation, challenging long-held assumptions and probing whether justice has ever truly been served. Here is my interview with the directors, Yotam and Ari. Okay, first thing I have to tell you is I was already familiar with this case and I was thrilled to watch it, and I was so happy to have learned so many more details of this perplexing story. And I'm thrilled to have you today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Now, this is such a complicated story. What first sparked your initial interest in this case, and what made it the right moment to explore it again?
I think basically, if you look back, me and Ari worked together for a while. We did 4 true crime shows actually together over the years. And we always looked at stories which there's more, there's a lot of questions to answer, but are not kind of closed and tight. And the reason I think we were attracted to this story was because it's such a huge case, but it's still open, which is so rare and almost unimaginable, because it's not something that happened 200 years ago. But even in a smaller scale, it was just because me and Ari one day kind of talked and realized that the reason why we can't open, those medicine bottles was because of the safety seals that makes you crazy from time to time when you try to open, your Advil. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know that it all happened, and then we kind of realized together, even before we were born, but, it happened in 82 in Chicago, and all started because of this murder. And once we knew, this thing happened, it kind of changed the whole world, and we realized it's still a mystery and it's open completely and there's so much more to investigate. That's how we got in.
Is it difficult then to revisit and reframe a story that happened 4 decades ago?
Actually, I think it's an interesting process, because the fact that it happened so many years ago just says that there's so much information out there to research and explore. And so we really went into a deep dive to gather every bit of information that we can, and try to find out what really happened. And of course, it's not easy. The fact is that this case has not been solved for 40 years, and there's a reason for that. But I think it's also it can also be like there's an advantage in looking at it with fresh eyes after so many years, and sometimes you can see things that maybe people couldn't in real time.
Mm. And I think the reason for the now is there's like two basic answers for this. One, because we managed to get, the most interesting character in this story on screen, which is
truly.
James. Secondly is because, nowadays there's a bit more skepticism and openness to hear more stories about, big pharma as a whole, and to understand about stuff that might happen in this world. Because, the US after the opioid crisis is completely different in terms of like how they look at those companies, and for us as well. And we figured maybe it's a good time to kind of look at it and see if people missed out on some stuff, and they did.
Well, I also think with the advancement of technology, some of these old cases, there's this little bit of hope that maybe there's a window into different answers that we didn't have at the time that some of these crimes were committed.
Yeah, I agree. And also, as filmmakers, I think it's in many ways sometimes, it can be a challenge to tell an older story, because it might be a challenge to get the access to it. But at the same time, it can be an easier or more interesting, because you have so much, breadth and depth of a story with so many turns and twists. Mm-hmm. The story is like a 40-year massive FBI investigation, unending one, with incredible twists and turns that you can never, sort of make up. So,
when I put together my bag each day, I need the essentials, my wallet, my keys, and I also need my liquid IV, which is helping me stay hydrated throughout the whole day. You can break the mold and own your own ritual with just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water, which hydrates better than water alone. Powered by Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration, 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And I gotta tell you, the best flavors. You have a multitude of flavors, acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada, or you can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet. Get ready for a long day with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code Kate Casey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code Kate Casey at liquidiv.com.
When a shopper places an order, you have one shot at winning them as a lifelong customer. I'm Al Coe, CEO of ShipStation. I'm obsessed with ShipStation being the most reliable and efficient way you can ship. At ShipStation, our promise is to make shipping easier for e-commerce business owners. We're focused on providing the most integrations with all the places you sell and automating manual tasks to make fulfillment easier for your team. We partner with all the major carriers to make sure you get the lowest possible rates because every dollar counts. So no matter what you're sending or where you're shipping to, ShipStation can get it there fast and keep your customers happy. See for yourself how ShipStation can reduce the time and effort you spend on order fulfillment. Go to ShipStation.com to sign up for your free trial. That's ShipStation.com.
Well, how long did it take to research and produce the series? And then did you find that there were any challenges, with the archival materials or access as you began this journey?
Yeah. So, in terms of access, so first of all, the first thing we do is, usually we go to the victim's family, whenever we do true crime, and we have to know that we have them, their blessing or them on screen, and this was not so easy, but at the same time, those people are really craving for answers. They're being basically asking for answers for so many years. So once we kind of figured we're there to help them, and we are, it was easy to access the story through them and to move forward. It was very hard to get James Lewis, of course, but our amazing producer, Molly Forster, that works with us for years, she did this heavy lift, and she, sort of established this relationship with him. In terms of archives, I would say this story, from all the stuff we did, but I think generally, is so rich with archival materials. The hard part is actually to look at it all and choose the best parts. At the same time, what was very hard is to get, the actual, like a lot of the materials from the FBI and law enforcement, because technically, most of it is still secret, even 40 years later.
Yeah, most of it is sealed. I will add that we worked on the series, I think, for almost 4 years, which is a lot for us. And we did, Yotam is right that it was very challenging to get a hold of all these FBI documents. We did manage to get a lot of them released, and we use a lot of them in the series. But there are some that are sealed to this day, including a lot of stuff that are related to the part of the investigation that dealt with Johnson & Johnson, the manufacturer. For some reason, specifically those documents are not being released to the public yet. And we basically think and hope that now that the series airs, it will encourage authorities to unseal all the documents, show them to the public, because first of all, the public deserves to know, but also maybe they can help. Maybe someone out there knows something that is of value to this investigation.
I would hope so. Now let's go back to James for a minute. And you mentioned that Molly was able to cultivate this relationship with him. It's really startling to see him on camera. He is such an odd bird, to put it mildly. The first thing that ran through my head was, I can't believe that they got him to be on camera. But then the more I thought about it, I think he likes this attention. And if he was in fact involved and all this time has passed, maybe there's some sort of high he gets from talking about the case.
I think Jim always enjoyed the cat and mouse game with the authorities, from day one. There was this huge manhunt just to find him when the story first broke. And it took the FBI months before they could trace him. And it was sort of like he was playing with them from the very first minute. And throughout the years, I think, he sort of enjoyed the notoriety of this case and, being called Tylenol Man. And he kind of walked the line. He liked the fact that people associate him with this case and view him as sort of like this mastermind. Mm-hmm. But without him having to really pay the price. I think that's basically what motivated him to give us this interview too. And of course, the fact that Molly was able to just earn his trust and convince him to come and tell his full story for the first time,
Though he craves attention in a way, and it's definitely a narcissistic character in that sense, like a lot of the people we see in those shows. He is very peculiar and he's very shy. I mean, over the years, he never gave in, and he was always camera shy. Like what he did, the way he basically talked with law enforcement or the media back in the days. And for a year, he was the most, famous person in America, was through letters, that he wrote anonymously, stuff like this. So yeah, he is a peculiar character because once he's in front of the camera, you see he kind of enjoys it. But to get him to there was extremely hard because he's also very careful. There's a reason why this person, even though he was, suspected, caught, tried even for horrendous crimes over the years, right? All the way from the 70s in Kansas to the 2000s in Massachusetts, he always got away with it. And he's a very cautious person, that's for sure.
Well, so when you were interviewing him, and stylistically, I thought it was so interesting, like the zoom in on the fingernails, because I always feel like the small things tell me so much. It was just kind of jarring to look. I wondered how many people are in the room, and was Molly in the room since she built that sense of trust with him?
Yeah, it was Molly in the room.
Conducting the interview.
Yeah. And she was the one, like he basically asked her to conduct the interview. He was afraid of us doing this. So no more than 4 or 5 people, and all the rest of the crew was out of the room. He never saw the rest of the crew, basically. He saw only like 5 people, that's it. And we set a place beforehand. Because, he was with us for like 2 days, and as you can see, he talks about everything. But yeah, it took a while, and he was very paranoid.
She did ask him all the hard questions, but also gave him a chance to tell his story, which is exactly what she promised him, And I think in that respect, we were very fair with him. But I think also part of it was just, the fact that she kind of built this relationship that was built on, she viewed him as a human being and was generally interested in him. He's a generally interesting person with a crazy life story since the moment he was born, and abandoned as a baby. And so I think that's what eventually made him just open up to her.
Yeah, and you do a good job of kind of telling the backstory and to him, which I think gives broader context to why he was in that moment in his life, and certainly in the moment that you were interviewing him. The footage that you have, or the picture, I should say, of the CVS, and it's like, I think her name was Paula, and she's buying
Walgreens. in the Walgreens, not CVS.
Walgreens.
Yeah.
That photo in the Walgreens, I mean, it is haunting to look back at it. I'm just imagining the two of you and your team looking through all of this archival footage and all the, putting together all the clues. Was that something that you, in that one in particular, maybe there are other things, but did that kind of shake you to your core?
I mean, yes, in a way, because when we started digging into the story, we basically believed the FBI narrative that this was probably the killer. Only later, we kind of realized that nowadays we actually know this was not the killer in the photo. So this is like, maybe I'm doing this, I'm giving a bit of a, too much secrets from the series, but basically, so yeah, it was completely chilling. And the effect of then knowing that for years, the FBI was telling people this is the killer probably, even though they knew he wasn't, that was shocking for us.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff were shocking in the series. Also this crime scene photos from the Ray West case, the other murder case that Jim was accused of, suspected of. were really hard to watch. But at the end, I think in every series that we do, in every true crime series, the most important thing for us is the evidence. And, to look at all the evidence, to show the evidence. And because that's the only path that you have to really to really solve the mystery at the end of the day. We thought it was important to show all these things too.
Hey, I'm Mike Corey, the host of Wondery's podcast, Against the Odds. In each episode, we take you to the edge of some of the most incredible adventure and survival stories in history. In our next season, it's 1980, and in the Pacific Northwest, the long-dormant volcano Mount St. Helens is showing signs of life. Scientists warn that a big eruption is coming, but a restricted zone around the mountain is limited by politics. On May 18th, hikers, loggers, reporters, and researchers are caught in the blast zone as the volcano erupts. They find themselves pummeled by a deadly combination of scorching heat, smothering ash, and massive mudslides. The survivors have to find their way to safety before they succumb to their injuries, or face another eruption. Follow Against the Odds on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Binge the entire season ad-free right now only on Wondery Plus. Start your free trial in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify today.
Last year, Law and Crime brought you the trial that captivated the nation.
She's accused of hitting her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her car.
Karen Reed is arrested and charged with second-degree murder.
The 6-week trial resulted in anything but resolution.
We continue to find ourselves at an impasse. I'm declaring a mistrial in this case.
But now the case is back in the spotlight, and one question still lingers. Did Karen Reed kill John O'Keefe?
The evidence is overwhelming that Karen Reed is innocent.
How does it feel to be a cop killer, Karen?
I'm Kristen Thorne, investigative reporter with Law and Crime and host of the podcast, Karen, the Retrial. This isn't just a retrial. It's a second chance at the truth.
I have nothing to hide. My life is in the balance, and it shouldn't be.
I just want people to go back to who the victim is in this. It's not her.
Listen to episodes of Karen, the Retrial, exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus.
When you think about this case and the lasting impact it had on product safety in the United States, what do you hope that the viewers take away about corporate accountability and also consumer trust?
So first of all, I would say it's not just the United States, it's all over the world. Like the impact that this case had on all of our lives is unprecedented. It really did change the whole way that products are manufactured and consumed. And all the safety seals on every product, not just medicines. We have this story to thank for that. And so you might say, although this is, of course, an extremely tragic story, that something good came out of it, these safety seals that assumingly protects us. But then again, when you think about it, they protect us if you assume that the poisoning occurred on store shelves. If it happened before that, then that's not really, doesn't really help with anything. And so it raises some interesting questions, I think.
Also, just this reality that there are certain events in our time that are cultural shifts. Like that, there's the before and there's the after. Like we're never the same after. So that must have been quite interesting to be part of this process of being witness to that. Like this is another example of something that totally shifted the way we see the world and ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this is a case that, when you talk to the, FBI agents, prosecutors, it really did change the whole way they work to this day. And it brought this whole idea even of domestic terror in the States. Something that until this case, people were completely naive to. Nobody could have imagined, somebody can actually come and put poison and kill, random people. And by the way, we know there's 7 deaths, right? But there might be many more, which is also an important thing to say. because, cyanide basically dissolves so quickly. And if somebody else died in another city or in a bigger vicinity or a day before, nobody would have known that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of suspected death connected to this as well. But anyway, yeah, this is a story. I think that the horror of it that really hunted America back then for years really changed and broke another, part of the naivety, I think, of the American people and people generally everywhere.
I'm so hopeful that when this comes out, we get some more answers. I have to believe, like you believe, that when this comes out, there are people that will kind of put two and two together and feel compelled. I mean, I think sometimes there are people that have answers and they think, well, too much time has passed. What good is it now? People have moved on. But this is like another example of the importance of getting the answers, especially for all those people that work tirelessly to bring some justice. So what is your hope in terms of what viewers can do or what can happen after that there is some finality?
I would say, first of all, that people should realize that it's something that always, even surprises us, even though we did some, other stories. There was open cases for years that, victims' families, parents, daughters, the pain never goes away. And even though the pain never goes away, even if the case is solved, the fact that those people don't know what happened to their, loved ones is really tormenting. And people need answers, and they need to solve those cases. And you have people like Michelle in the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's a daughter for many years. She only has one photo left of her mother.
Yeah.
Who died so young. And she's basically, in all her life, she's been obsessed. And I wouldn't say obsessed, by the way, because it might have a negative connotation, and she's such an amazing person. But she's been investigating this, for so many years because she has to know the answer of what happened to her mom. And she will not rest until. So we do deeply hope that people understand that even though time passed, those people cannot move on until they have the answer. And they deserve the answer. And what we hope for two things. First of all, I think is for the law enforcement to open, the files, the ones that are sealed, because there is a lot of importance into it. And if they can't get the killer after 40 years, maybe somebody else can. You know what I mean? It's worth at least trying to open it and see where it goes. And secondly, that people will come with information because somebody poisoned those people. And I'm sure somebody knows something about it, and it's time to end the story.
Somebody knows. Well, the Tylenol Murders docuseries on Netflix is titled Cold Case, The Tylenol Murders, and it will be available to stream on May 26th. This is so well done. I felt like I took a college course, and that's the best kind of doc series in my mind. Tell everybody where they can find you.
They can find us. I think the best way will be to get into our website, silviofilms.com, and they can see our email there, our office email, and they can send us whatever questions or tips. Or news stories.
News stories, yeah. Well, what are you working on after this? Anything that we should know?
We have a couple of things, but we can't talk about them as always.
All right. Well, you better send them my way.
Yeah, we will. Don't worry.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my fantastic guests and remind you to make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast. Please leave a 5-star review. You can subscribe to my What to Watch list of what to watch each week by going to katecasey.substack.com. Make sure that you are also in the Facebook group, Reality Life with Kate Casey. And follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KCaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. Check back tomorrow for an all-new Saturday series episode.
Every big moment starts with a big dream. But what happens when that big dream turns out to be A Big Flop. From Wondery and At Will Media, I'm Misha Brown, and this is The Big Flop. Every week, comedians join me to chronicle the biggest flubs, fails, and blunders of all time, like Quibi.
It's kind of like when you give yourself your own nickname and you try to get other people to do it.
And the 2019 movie adaptation of Cats.
Like, if I'm watching the dancing and I'm noticing the feet aren't touching the ground, there's something wrong with the movie.
Find out what happens when massive hype turns into major fiasco. Enjoy The Big Flop on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to The Big Flop early and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Get started with your free trial at Wondery.com/plus.